Hello, on behalf of the Highland Park Public Library, I'd like to welcome you to Library in Your Living Room. I'm Susan, and today I'm going to show you how to merge two photos using Pixlr.com, a free online photo editor. We're going to use Pixlr E because that is the more advanced version. As you can see, I already have one photo loaded on, a nice picture of a puppy. And I'm going to put this puppy into a water lily pond. So the first thing I need to do is open up the water lilies. So I'm going to go to File up in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to say Open Image. It'll bring me to the last file that I used, and here's my water lilies. We're going to open that one up. So here's my photo of water lilies. I want to put my puppy right in the middle of the water lilies. So I'm going to go back to my puppy image, and I want to select the puppy. You have multiple ways that you can select things in Pixlr. You have the Marquee Selection, which lets you select using either a rectangle or an ellipse. You have the Lasso Selector, which lets you do a freehand selection. You can also do a polygon selection where you click and click and click and click. Bezier selection, which allows you to click and curve. And the magnetic selection, which if you've used other photo editors, is Pixlr's version of an edge selector, but as you can see, it doesn't do a very good job. And then you have the magic wand, which allows you to click on a color, and it will select similar colors. I found the best way to trim an object out of the background is to start with your lasso tool and draw your basic selection. I'm not going to worry about the puppy's feet because I'm going to cut them off. And we'll go around up here. Once you have your initial selection done, what's nice in Pixlr is you can change to, at this point, the magic wand, and you can choose to select and deselect from your previous selection. So I'm going to remove from selection because I don't want these yellow parts, and I'm just going to click there, and you'll see that the magic wand, when it knows what it's doing, it does a very good job of deselecting the parts you don't want and trimming it down. So I don't want that piece. This piece. We'll just get rid of all the little bits we don't want. I may have to erase that one by hand. Uh-oh. Now, as you see, I deselected way too far in. I have two options. I can go into Edit, and I can undo, or I can add to selection, which I'll show you in a second. So here, we'll get rid of these last bits. Let me get rid of that. And there we go. I think we're pretty good. So now whoops. Let me do add to selection. I'm going to click in there, and it should bring it right back. So now we have my puppy. So I'm just going to copy my puppy, and then I'm going to go over to my water lilies, and I'm going to paste. Of course, you can use Control-C and Control-V if you prefer. If you remember from our last thing, this is our Arrange tool. I'm going to pull my puppy down because I want him to, I don't want to have to worry about his feet. Kind of cheating, but there we go. So now my puppy's in there. I could make him bigger. I could make him smaller. Maybe I'll make him a little bigger. Pull him down a little bit more, and there he is. I now have my puppy in with my flowers. It would look better if I had some flowers floating close to him. So I can click on the background here, and I can select the flowers in the background. Now, the puppy's in the way, which makes it a little difficult. So if I click on this layer setting, I can just hide him for now. And now I can go back to my flowers. And just like I did with the puppy, I'm going to do a rough circle of where I want the flower. And then I'm going to use the magic wand to get rid of the background. We'll click on that. There we go. And then we'll click there. We'll get rid of the background here. Now it's a little rough. You can see I've got some bits and pieces in there that I'm probably not going to want, but we clear that up in a second. So now I have this flower copied pretty good. And this time I'm going to Control C to copy it. I'm going to paste my new flower. I'm going to go down to our background here. And I'm going to hide the background because I want to work on the flower. And I'm going to also right click and deselect where I was on the background. Now we have our little flower. And I'm going to use the eraser tool to get rid of these extra little bits and pieces that I didn't want. I can zoom in using the scroller in the middle of your mouse. I'll just clean up this stuff. There we go. And so now I have that flower. And let me scroll out. I want to have two of these, I think. So I'm going to come over to its layer. And I'm going to duplicate the layer. So now I have two copies of that layer. So now I have two of these. And I'm going to turn the background back on. And I'm going to turn the puppy back on. There he is. There's my flower. And so I can move my flower down. Put one down there. Put one down there. If I wanted to make these flowers look a little different, I could flip it so that they are now the same flower, flip twice. I could resize them. Since they're closer to us, we might want to make them a little bigger. I could duplicate the back flower if I wanted to do that, but I don't think I will this time. I think I'll just use these. And now, if you look, when I scroll out, there's my puppy sitting amid the flowers. Now, if you look, he looks a little rough on the edges. You can see that he's very cut out. So I'm going to click on the blur, and let me make this a little bit bigger brush. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to give a slight blur around the puppy's edge. So I'm going to click on the puppy's layer, and then I'm just going to come up and slightly blur his edges. Make him just a little softer. So that way he blends in a little bit more. And if I wanted to, I could do the same with the flowers, although they don't really need it. So there we have it. I now have merged my puppy and put him into the flowers.